Good morning and happy Friday. It is September 20th. My name is Russ Laggan. I am the host of Big Agent Meeting today. Today, we've got a beautiful show lined up for you guys, and you're going to want to stay all the way to the end because we've got some great stuff coming in at the end of this show to show you guys how to actually put more dollars in your pocket with real estate in EXP, a program called EXP Exclusive. So make sure you stick around for that. Today, we're going to kick it off with Mayur Thakarar. I got it close, right? Josey Baez, and we're going to start off with them with the Leadership Corner. They're going to be talking to us about what they're doing in the new regional director role, and they got a couple of tips on how to sell more houses and how to do attraction a little bit. Then we're going to go rolling over into Bryon Ellington. He's going to be having a conversation with Joe Carteret, and this conversation is something you guys don't want to miss. This is stuff that he's putting in his business now, and he's going to be rolling it out to you guys and showing you guys what he's doing that's working. So you want to make sure you check that out too. So before we kick off today, we've been asked to continue to do a small segment called Market Minute, talking about what's going on in the real estate market. And a question was posed to me this morning, and I want to make sure I gave you guys some context on this too. So look at it right out of the gate. The one thing that people always ask me as a real estate agent is, how's the market? And the way we answer that question either gets us the ability to show them that we're an expert and be able to actually get them to come to us, or the way we answer that question is a sales pitch, which actually scares them away. So one of the things that I want you guys to learn and put in your repertoire right now, when somebody asks you, how's the market? I want you to be able to say, hey, I'm glad you asked. I just did a market update the other day that tells you what's going on in the market. Would you like me to send that to you? And then they're going to say yes almost every single time. And then what's the natural thing? Great. Where do you want me to send it? Plug that puppy in your phone. Now they've asked you for something. You've offered to give them what they asked for. They say yes almost every time. And then they voluntarily give you their information. Completely different than a sales pitch, where many times you're actually manipulating them into having and continuing a conversation. So if you want to take the pressure off in that situation, start off with that. Works extraordinarily well. I've taught it for many, many years, and it still works today. Happens almost every time I'm out and about, and I have the same response every time. Now, the question this morning was, Russ, what do you put in a market update? And I said, hey, great. I'll just drop this in here now. So a couple of things you want to make sure you throw in your real estate market update: median sales price. And keep in mind, if you're doing a market update, you don't have to do all of these every time. Just do one or two of them and make sure you're telling them what it does and how it makes sense. Okay, so look at it like this: median sales price. Is that important? To a lot of people it is. So let me give you that info here. I'll give you actual Michigan information. So median sales price in Michigan over the last 5 years, the average property in the state of Michigan went up 55.3%. Median sales price went up 55.3%. So what that means is your $300,000 house that you bought 5 years ago is now worth $459,000. So if you bought a house in the last 5 years, congratulations, you did great. Hopefully the market's going to continue going. It's not going as strong as it was before. It was not going as strong as it was the last 2 years. But even if we only see a 5 or 6% or 7% appreciation over the next year, still a good time to own a home. That's it. Okay, so give them a small piece of information, give them some context of what it means, and then shut it down. Keep it nice and simple. They don't want a lecture for an hour, just a basic piece of info. Okay, people will say, wow, that's interesting. I didn't know that. And if they're thinking that and saying that, then there's a more likely chance they're going to start to see you as their expert. Here's the other fun part. Most real estate agents don't know these metrics either. So we use this for attraction all the time too. The other things you can use is total number of listings on the market. How many total listings do we have right now? In this immediate market, we have 8,722. Last year at the same time, we had 7,000. So total inventory went up. But the good news is we actually needed more homes on the market because it's been really, really short pickings out there for a long time. So if you're thinking about buying a house, now's a good time to buy a house type of scenario. Okay, so total number of listings, you can use that as context. And then the last one is how many homes sold in the last 30 days. Like, hey guys, here's how many homes sold in the last 30 days. If I know the total number of listings, total sold in the last 30 days, take this, divide by this, and that'll tell you what the supply of homes is. In a bunch of places around the country right now, the nation is still a sub 4 month supply of homes, which means if it goes up another 50%, that'll get us back to a balanced market. So good news is we're actually seeing more supply. Great news is we're moved more towards a normal market, which we like, because then buyers have the ability to have choice and sellers have a little bit of time to be able to have a choice to find something for themselves also. So having a little more inventory right now is a great thing. It's not a bad thing. Okay. There's your quick market minute, give you some information about what's going on in the market. Hope you guys are able to use that and put that into your business this week. And if you get stuck on anything, don't hesitate to reach out to me in workplace chat. Happy to help. And I've got a video on that too, if you want to see that also. All right. So there you go. So let's talk about Leadership Corner. I'd like to welcome to the show Thakarar, Mayur Thakarar, and Josey Baez. Come on down. There you go, guys. See, if I say that 40 more times, Mayur, I'll get it.
You got it kind of like half right. It's okay, Russ.
I didn't have the confidence behind it, right? So
we did practice backstage, but it's fine.
You know,
you did great.
I'm from Detroit. The fact that I got any of it was good, right? All right. So welcome to the Big Agent Meeting. And by the way, welcome to the new roles as Regional Director for California and Regional Director for Florida. Josey, let's start off with you real quick.
Of course.
Give us a quick background. Where do you come from and how did you get here?
Yes. So I came from KW. I was with KW for 8 years, and I was sort of the culture keeper and did many executive roles there. But I started off as an administrative assistant on the team and worked my way up to marketing roles, operational roles, and then team leader roles. Mainly focused in the South Florida area. So I oversaw 5 offices, including Miami Beach, Miami Lakes, Pembroke Pines. And, you know, I have a very strong marketing and operational background. And I had a conversation with someone at EXP, and I was honestly cross-recruited. And so I knew that when I was applying for this role, I needed to get the role because I couldn't walk back into the office and recruit to something that I no longer believed in. So that's a little bit about my background. And now I'm here, and I'm super, super thrilled to be in this role.
Absolutely fantastic. So your role right now officially is actually being over helping everybody in the state of Florida with their growth plans and all of the things that are established around that attraction thing, right?
That is correct.
That's fantastic. So super glad to have you in this role. I've enjoyed the interactions that we've had already. And I know you're just a wonderful addition to the state of Florida. I'm excited to watch you grow in this role too.
I appreciate it, Russ. Thank you.
All right, Mayur, new kid on the block. You guys smell that? That's the new regional director role, man. You're brand spanking new out of the gate. What, 2 weeks now?
Yeah, it's been about 2 weeks.
That's fantastic. That's so. Give us a little history of your background. You're out of California. Are you running North or South California?
Primarily Southern California, but I'm no stranger to traveling to Northern California.
There you go.
My background is similar to Josey's. I came from KW, so I was the team leader of Keller Williams Newport Beach for 5 years. I then launched my own market center, KW Costa Mesa, as the operating principal. And then I actually asked if there was more opportunity or room for growth. And I got a hard no. Based on their franchise model and the way that territories are broken up, there was no more room for growth. And so I decided to leave Keller Williams, but I didn't come to EXP. I spent almost a year interviewing every major brokerage. Not going to say the names, but there's a big one that's blue, and there's one with the balloon, and there's a ton of other ones. And I went to every single one of them with a growth plan. I said, hey, let's grow your company. Let's grow the size. Let's build something big. Yeah. And all 10 or 12 of them told me the exact same thing. You know what they told me, Russ?
I probably don't want to hear this.
They said, Mayur, we'd love to have you join, but we're not in growth mode. We actually don't plan on growing our offices, our agent count. And I was shocked. That wasn't their business plan. Their business plan wasn't to grow. Their business plan was just to sustain where they're at. And that didn't hit my vision. And so as I continued on the path to look at the best place to plant my flag, one of my really good friends and business partners, John Pugh, he said, hey, Mayur,
love John.
You got to check out this company, EXP. You got to check it out. And reluctantly, I checked out EXP, and I actually asked EXP, I said, hey, I want to grow. Can I come in and grow and build up a bunch of offices and hire thousands of agents? And you know what they said to me?
Let me help you.
They said, absolutely. And here's how our model works. And here's how we're going to help you to do it. And here's how you can get compensated to do it. And so it was a very easy decision to join EXP. I've been here for 4 years, and over the last 4 years, I've got to see firsthand the incredible impact that EXP has on agents and their businesses.
Yeah.
They're, it's not a company where they want agents to just come and join. They want agents to come here and thrive. And that's the company and the culture that I want to be a part of.
That is absolutely fantastic. It's kind of funny because, you would think that there wasn't a company in the world that wouldn't say, you got a plan to grow and you want to help me grow? Hell yeah, let's go. I mean, that seems like the only logical answer. I had a guy yesterday. He's like, hey, Russ, the role that I've got now, I'm going to have to recruit 60 people a year to make X dollars. And if I'm going to do that, I'd probably be better off doing that over here. And I'm like, if you have to recruit 60 capping agents there to get X dollars, you get 60 capping agents here. First year rev share, remember guys, 2.0, we're splitting rev share 50-50 on the first year, which means that's $4,000 a pop on full capping agents. So he's like, 60 full capping agents is $240,000 your place. They're going to pay me way less than that. I'd be better off doing it there. And I'm like, yeah. It's like, no, man, the Indians just keep shooting at those stupid wagons. They're lighting them on fire. It's not going to end well.
That's right.
So here's one thing I want to do. Leaders of EXP Realty, all of us have, almost every single one of us, I believe, besides one person, has extensive real estate experience. So in the new Leadership Corner segment, we're going to be asking you guys a couple questions. So Mayur, I'm going to start with you. If you're a real estate agent in this market right now, what would be one thing you do to get one more home sold?
So the one tip I'd have is, if you're an EXP agent in this market, you want to sell one more home, first of all, join EXP. And if you're already with EXP, you join the Fast Cap program. Yeah. We have just launched this amazing program that, like I said, I've been here for 4 years. I've never seen anything so dynamic, so focused on helping agents to cap so quickly. The numbers that are already coming out from this are absolutely phenomenal. And so I would say, if you haven't joined the first one, get in the next one that's coming up. It's definitely the easiest, quickest way for you to come in and get some transactions under your belt.
Unbelievable. I think, Bryan's going to love you for that.
Bryan's put together a heck of a program. He's making everybody's job easier by really putting the best training, the accountability, and the way the entire program works.
Agreed.
I mean, nobody has anything like this out there. Nobody.
Did you catch that stat from Fast Cap program? The average agent in the Fast Cap program had 1.9 closings in 3 months, which you might be like, well, Russ, that isn't a whole lot, but keep in mind, guys, that's 3 months times 4. That's almost 8 sales per person from jumping into the Fast Cap program. A lot of people that jumped in Fast Cap were at zeros. So that's a huge move. I'm like, I could not be more impressed by that statistic. So Josey, you've been on the ground, teaching, training, coaching. You've done all the stuff that helps people sell more homes. Like, what would you be thinking right now as a real estate agent? What's tip number 1 for you?
My number 1 tip, especially in this real estate landscape, Russ, is to really nurture your partnerships outside of other agents. So number 1, you want to have an amazing lender or mortgage broker, right? Because you're going to need so much creative financing in this market. So I think that really being in business with people who understand your vision, your mission, and who care about the client is key, right? And so having a great title person to help you, a great transaction coordinator, everybody that's involved in that real estate transaction, really building that relationship so that you are all on the same goal, and so that you're building that rapport with the client and that trust. So I think it's just building on those key partnerships.
Partnerships matter because they're the ones that are going to help you from having a deal fall apart. So to get one more deal, have one less that falls apart, and you got another check. That's cool. All right. Mayur, attraction. That's what you're here to do, right? This role is all about attraction. It's something that you love. So one tip for attraction for an agent right now.
So the best tip I have, and I've been telling people for the last 4 years, the number 1 thing you could do is get yourself a wealth chart. Wealth chart, for those of you that may not know what it is, it's a 1-page business plan that you fill out that helps you with everything from creating a prospect list to working your pipeline to managing your front line, you're qualified. It even has a 5-year pro forma in there. Yep. This is the single best tool that anybody could use, and anybody that needs help in finding one or getting one printed or actually filling one out, you can reach out to me directly, and I'd be more than happy to help you with that.
Love that. All right, Josey, you're up. Tip for attraction. This is what you're a specialist at.
Yes. My number 1 tip is that when you're having these conversations with future EXP agents, you're positioning yourself as a mentor, and mentors are resourceful. And I think that if as EXP agents, if we learn everything that EXP has to offer, we'll be able to prescribe the right tool to that agent more often. And if agents knew everything that EXP had, all the tools, all of the platforms, all of the perks for our agents, they would never want to leave. So I think number one is just learning all of those resources and, leverage myself, Mayur, and all of the growth directors to hop on a call with you and help you get your attraction presentation on point.
All right. Absolutely fantastic. Mayur, Thakarar, and Josey Baez, thank you very much. So glad to have you as part of the team. So if you guys are in Florida, reach out to Josey. If you guys are in California, reach out to Mayur. And if you have questions about what he just mentioned, don't hesitate to reach out to him in workplace chat. He's happy to help you any way he can. And by the way, both of you have already got a fantastic reputation. I'm hearing great stuff about you guys on the market. So thank you for being part of the team. I love having you along the ride with us.
Thanks,
you, Russ.
You got it. See ya. All right, there you go. 2 of the new regional directors of growth for EXP, helping you guys with the attraction thing. And by the way, we also help people sell more houses too, because the more houses you sell, the easier it is to do the attraction thing. So glad to have them aboard, and it's going to be a fun ride watching how they grow over the next year within the team. All right, so there you go. So next up, we have none other than Bryon Ellington. Bryon Ellington is going to do some information about university, and then he's going to jump into an interview to have a conversation, and that's coming up next. Jump in now.
Thank you, Russ. I really appreciate it. Well, we've got a really special guest for you today, and I'm really excited about this conversation. Before we get to him, though, just a few things from the university. Here's a thought. I saw this quote from Paul Coelho the other day, famous writer. What Paul said was, "A mistake repeated more than once is a decision." So here's a question for you. Not looking at anybody on the YouTube channel land. What mistakes and what decisions are we making in our business that are keeping us in those mistakes? How's our scripting? How's our dialogues? How's the value that we're bringing to our prospects and our lead generation? Whatever the case might be, wherever it is that you need to improve in your business, so that we don't keep making those decisions over and over again, tune into the university. We've got some great training coming up for you, especially this week. On Tuesday, we've got Kickstart. Session 6 is going on. That's the final session for this cohort, by the way, but we will do another cohort on Kickstart this year. Speaking of cohorts, so we kicked off FastCap, our new productivity program, 6-week boot camp, 18 sessions, amazing results. And the pilots, the people going through the pilot did 5.4 buyer and listing appointments and 1.9 buyer and listing agreements each on average during the 6-week period. That's an amazing result. And we're getting great numbers out of this, this latest round, the inaugural round after the pilot. We keep getting a lot of questions. So I just want to let you know, November 6th, mark your calendar. That's going to be the start of the next FastCap. And again, that's going to be after EXPCon. We'll put those registrations available. Again, this is no extra cost to you as an EXP agent, but we'll put that registration out in mid-October for you. So just stay tuned for that, but you can mark your calendars November 6th on that. Yesterday, we had the amazing Seth Ziegler, our Chief Intelligence Officer, on our EXP Executive Masterclass. Now, if you don't know Seth and you didn't see his session yesterday, you really should. It's on our EXP University channel on YouTube. You can go to EXP Realty on YouTube and check out his masterclass on AI tools for real estate agents. It was amazing. Also, too, next Thursday, mark your calendar, and we do this every Thursday at 3 p.m. We have the EXP Executive Masterclass. We have a different executive come on and share about passionate topics for them in building your business as an agent. Almost all of our EXP executives have been agents and team leaders at one time or another. And so next week, we've got the amazing Russ Laggan, who himself was a very successful agent, coming on to talk about attraction through production. Now, you may be saying to yourself, I don't want to be a recruiter. That's why I've never started a revenue share group. Get that 100%. Check out Russ's session. He'll give you some easy tips to take advantage of the fact that you're going to be at a closing table with a co-op agent and some great things that you might share with them that would get them excited about EXP. Just check that out. Again, that's every Thursday at 3 p.m. Eastern. We do those master classes. All right. Next week on BAM, we've got the amazing Kunal Seth, who's going to come on and talk about listing strategies. We've been kind of continuing in this vein post the NAR decision about listing strategies and how can we talk to our sellers on the sell side of things about what's going on now with buyer concessions and things of that nature, how this impacts them as sellers listing their property. This week, though, we've got the amazing Joe Carteret with the Carteret Group in the greater Charlotte area. Joe, are you with me?
How's it going, Bryon?
Hey, I'm doing great, man. How are you doing?
I'm doing just fine. Excited to be here. Thank you for the opportunity.
No, thank you for agreeing to do it. So Joe and I had a great conversation leading up to this in our prep call. And I've been really excited to have this conversation today because I think this is going to help a lot of agents. So first, Joe, a little bit about you and the team there, if you don't mind.
Yeah, absolutely. So I was fortunate enough to be introduced to EXP in October of 2021, and then finally came on in April 2022. Just as everything was really getting crazy and we were in the middle of all the craziness with COVID and how that shifted our market. Charlotte is one of the prime markets for relocation. We've got over 115 people a day moving to the Charlotte region. And so for us, we knew that we needed good, talented individuals to be able to be on our team and make an impact in the area. And we've been blessed to be named Charlotte's Best Real Estate Team and Charlotte's Best Real Estate Agent 2 years in a row. And that was a community voted and driven award for us. So it's just, it goes back to our team and all the efforts that they put in. And we're super excited to be here and grateful to be able to share kind of what we're doing differently here.
Well, we are very proud of that, what you and the team have done there in the Charlotte area, not only for yourselves, but also for eXp Realty as a whole. That's amazing, and congrats on that.
Thank you.
So, with the NAR settlement, immediately people's mind went to the buy side of the transaction because that was where the biggest change of this came from. And yet on the listing side, there's a lot of changes. And by the way, we're not even settled on all the changes, right? The dust has not yet gone to the ground on all of this. We're still figuring things out. So I'm kind of curious, first, from a kitchen table standpoint, what are you hearing from sellers about this whole NAR decision? And what's in their mind? What misperceptions are out there?
Yeah, great question, Bryon. And so for us, we're seeing a little bit of a mixed bag. For the most part, sellers aren't really dialed into it from a standpoint of, roadblocks up or any kind of detrimental conversations. What we're finding is a lot of people have seen noise about it. They've seen, of course, what the media is feeding them. But the folks that we're dealing with also are going into the conversations with an open mind of, okay, tell me what's really going on. And so we took advantage of that opportunity and in many cases got ahead of it because our dialogue actually started with either leads that we had in our CRM, past clients that eventually down the road would become a seller, or just people within our network of education. And one of the biggest challenges is making sure that the masses are educated and hopefully educated sooner than by the time you get to their kitchen table so that they're hearing factual information. And of course, we're prepared to back that up with data and resources. But in those conversations, it's really been, okay, just let me know what's going on. What is this I'm hearing and what is the media telling us? And they're going into it cautiously, but also understanding that a lot of it probably is noise. The biggest misconception is that it really has been all about commission. And instead, it's about making sure that each party is truly being represented by their representation. And then being able to break down what that actually looks like. Who's representing you when you're out here listing your house? And then we've switched the conversation around if they decide to offer a compensation to the other side of the deal. That's really a marketing fee. And so we've kind of shifted what that language has been as well, because at the end of the day, we have found that people understand marketing a whole lot easier than they do fee. Fee sounds scary. Marketing makes sense to people. And then of course we've expanded the conversation from there.
Yeah. And you mentioned being a little proactive. I'm curious, what does that look like? Like what's the communication that you're making and how frequently and how are you making that?
Yeah, I mean, it's as simple as, we'll give you kind of our little script here. It's, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, to market your home to the broadest audience, we need to entice a buyer's agent. Because at the end of the day, this really isn't about commissions, but it's about a strategic investment into marketing to make sure that we reach the masses and that your property stays top of mind of those who are out actively looking, willing and able to actually pull the trigger on their next property and give you what you're looking for from a net perspective. So again, it's shifting the message. That's just high level kind of what our script has been. But we've started that dialogue early, as I mentioned, and it's simply providing breakdowns, high level pieces of the settlement and how it impacts them versus getting rid of the noise of things that really don't impact the majority of sellers. Sellers understand this, that at the end of the day, in order to reach the majority of folks' goals, I need the majority of people to lay eyes on my home. And if my home is prepared for the market through our team's support in preparing their home for the market, and I can get as many people to see my home or know about my home, the chances are higher that I'm actually going to get an offer. And if I get an offer, and the more chances of offers I have, the potential for a higher offer or one that meets my needs as a seller is going to increase. And so that's basic. The majority of people understand that, especially when you give it to them just like that. You break it down, you remove the noise, and you keep it to the basics, because at the end of the day, if it meets their needs, that's what they want to know. It's how are we going to get there is really the nuts and bolts that you got to go a little deeper with.
Yeah, and in our conversation, you'd mentioned a great analogy about discount brokers. Is that something that you actually share with sellers, or is that just you and me talking?
Yeah, at the end of the day, look, here's the thing. There's going to be a ton of different strategies. There's a ton of different ways to get from point A to point B in the real estate business. We all understand that. At the end of the day, what we stay focused on is our value. If we can focus on our value and we can focus on building authentic relationships and reaching the masses with our message, and our message resonates with those individuals, they're the kind of people we want to work with. And so for us, we don't get caught up in this idea that next big thing, or somebody may take this and, a real estate agent use it to their advantage to, minimize or give fear mongering into someone that this is the end of the world and that kind of thing. We just keep it simple. We relate to the individual client and, most importantly, their actual needs, because we all understand that's differently from person to person. And then we focus on the value that we bring, so that when the conversation around a specific fee does come up, whether that's 0% or it's 1%, just use, a dramatic example here, but regardless of what your fee is, at the end of the day, they are going to see that that fee is worth paying because they truly believe that we are going to be their best shot. We're very open about the idea of a discount broker. Look, if you want to bring someone in here to pay them $300 or $400 to put it in the MLS for you, that's fine. You can absolutely do that. And you know what? If you feel that's the best for you, I encourage you to try that. But here's what you need to look for. Here's the red flags that you need to be mindful of. And this isn't any fear. I'm not trying to get you to sign a document. This is reality. If this was my property, this is what I would be concerned with. Is it going to reach the masses by minimizing the importance of this sale? Because that's what you're doing, Mr. Seller, is you're minimizing the importance of this sale by trying to get the cheapest price. It's like Dollar Tree and Nordstrom. They both serve a client, and they're both great stores for that client or for a specific need. If I need cheap balloons, I could go to Dollar Tree. If I need a really nice blazer that I want to stand out and capture an audience and bring in the majority of people to walk up to me and say, wow, I love that blazer, or perfect blazer for this event, then I'm going to go to Nordstrom and I'm going to pay more because I see the value in getting something that is going to attract the people that I want to attract. Same thing, Mr. Seller, with your house. Do you want me to put it in front of the people that are looking for cheap dollar balloons? Or do you want me to get it in front of the people that are going to really be eager and hungry to run into your home and be competitive in what they offer in getting your home locked down? So small example, we build upon that, but it's just a way that we try to get very simple with the conversation.
Yeah. And by the way, that's a beautiful blazer you've got on. And when it comes to You got it. When it comes to talking about this with your sellers at the kitchen table, how do you approach this whole topic of are we going to offer a concession or not? Are we even having that conversation with your sellers, or are we going to just wait until the offers come in? You proactive? How do you do it?
Yeah, again, we're proactive. We get ahead of it. We want to kind of hit the conversation, see what questions they have, and then we move on. But what we don't do, and again, this is how we operate. It's not one size fits all. But what we don't do on our team is we don't run around getting worried. In North Carolina, because I know there's other states on here, we have what we call Form 220. Form 220 essentially is a compensation form that the state has provided to us and said, use this if you are a buyer's agent and you want to secure some kind of fee, okay? Everybody's doing a different variation of how they're getting that fee signed, meaning when they're getting it signed. But what we're not doing is worrying about in that listing appointment someone else's fee. That's not my job. My job is to understand the seller's needs, articulate my value, state my fee very openly to do the job that they're hiring me to do, feel very confident in that because I'm not going to waver from that because I showed you my value and I know I'm the guy to get the job done. And then we're going to get out there and we're going to list your property. We're going to have dialogue and say, now a heads up. Through this process, we may get an offer or we may get a buyer's agent that asks me, hey, Joe, my buyers are directing me to ask, is your client willing to compensate and provide some kind of fee, whatever that fee may be, for bringing a buyer to the deal? And what I advise my sellers to say is absolutely. My sellers are open to discussion and will entertain any requests that you decide to send over on behalf of your clients. Once we get an offer, and we'll sign that request if that's what the seller's saying, we'll sign that request and we'll send it back. Once we get an offer, my sellers also have committed to following through fully with that commitment with an acceptable offer that meets their seller needs. And that's all we should be saying on my team. That's what we're saying. But basically, we're giving a heads up that the seller, you may see this come across. What we don't want to do is show our hands. We don't want to turn around and throw the kitchen sink out because I'm not a discount broker. And that's the same prop I use when I go into the conversation of listing. Why would you want me to come in here and negotiate my commission up front, throw all of it out the window and do it for next to nothing? Well, equally, I'm not going to go throw all your money out the window up front as well. I'm going to protect that until we find out where their head is. Because guess what? That buyer's agent actually may come to the table, especially in a competitive market. They may come to the table and say, hey, here's our offer, and we're not asking for any compensation. If I'm a buyer's agent and you bring up that you're offering compensation, of course I'm going to take that. Why wouldn't I? Because their focus is on their client, right? So that's how we're approaching it. We're saying, let's pause. Let's wait to see how things are going. Now, I will say the caveat there is, if we have a property that's going to be tough to sell, Bryon, we know up front, we're very transparent with our clients. This is going to be a tough one. You've deferred maintenance. You haven't done the updates. You've got things in here that should have been changed out 15 years ago. We're going to have to be more aggressive because, again, this is a marketing fee. And the more I need to market, the more aggressive I need to be to get this thing across the finish line, the more money I need to be offering up to that buyer's agent, Mr. Seller. And that's what that dialogue looks like.
Yeah, and in our conversation, I know we want to stay away from amounts here. Neither of us going to look good in orange jumpsuits, but in our conversation, you talked about just now the idea that, hey, we may not even have to offer any concession on the buy side. So why show our cards, to use your words? But there's also that sort of gray area in between, which is that buyers, hey, never underestimate the lack of self-confidence of other agents in your area. That buyer's agent may come in and ask for a lot less than what your seller may be willing to offer in terms of compensation concessions. And so to your point, why share that you're willing to offer 4 cents when the buyer's agent is only going to ask for 2 cents, and then you put that 2 cents back in your seller's pocket. And what I like about that is the way in which you position it at the kitchen table. And I know you guys have specific forms there in North Carolina that you use. The EXP listing agreement form and the addendum that goes along with it. That's why we did what we did, is to give you that competitive advantage at the kitchen table of just worrying about your commission as the listing agent, and then making sure your seller understands what's customary, what's likely to happen, and what are we going to do about that if and when that comes to pass. And that can help differentiate yourself. So I loved your script there. Folks watching at home, go back on YouTube and rewatch this and borrow those scripts. And if you have not seen Holly Mabry's amazing masterclasses, she did a part 1 and part 2, basically, one on buyers, one on sellers, where she goes through those forms. Do check that out as well. So I'm curious, you're not indicating out there that well, you said if the property warrants it, maybe, but other than that, you're not necessarily showing cards and indicating that you're willing to offer concessions. But I'm betting that you get that Form 220 preemptively from some of these buyers agents in your area before they even show the property.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. Look, we'll play ball. If they want to send it, it's not a problem. I'm not dogging everyone, and I think all of us have an obligation as professionals to lead with great. We've got in mind. Folks don't know what they don't know. They're being directed by their firm to do it a certain way, and that's okay as well. So we're going to, of course, present everything. We're going to get in front of our sellers, and if our sellers in that moment decide to sign it, that's not a problem. We'll get it signed and we'll send it back over. But what's important, especially in North Carolina, your state may be different, but in North Carolina, that compensation remains a part of the negotiation all the way until my seller has decided that it meets their net and they put ink to paper on that final version of an offer. So an example of that, and this is just like when we go into negotiations around home inspection reports or appraisals and things like that, is why in the world would I start out the dialogue saying, hey, thanks for showing my client's house on every example. By the way, if you get a home inspection, we're actually going to give you $20,000. Nobody would do that, right? So the same is true here. We're not going to start the dialogue like that when the other side's coming to us. But what we are going to do, if they decide to send it and my seller wants to sign it, we'll certainly send it back. We will wait for their offer to come through. And then if it matches their buyer's need, agent will send their offer through, and we will revive that compensation agreement into the stack of documents that I'm presenting to the seller. And that's a part of the system. And I'm going to go through purchase price and then write on down all the other dollar lines, right? And oh, by the way, as a friendly reminder, you agreed already earlier today or 3 days ago that you're going to pay XYZ, which is a percentage of this number right here. And I'm going to show them that again. And in many cases, I may have a blank seller net sheet. And we pound out the numbers again right there just to make sure that they're feeling very comfortable. And so, and I overestimate everything. I'm one that does a little bit more aggressive with that seller net so that there are no surprises. I think that's always a good best practice, so that worst case scenario, if their overall expenses are going to be, I don't know, I'm just throwing a number, 10%, and you maybe calculate 12% or 11%, and you tell them that up front. I'm leaving a pretty good buffer here just in case inspection report comes back rough or this and that. And that's how we're having that dialogue in the moment. Now, if it doesn't meet the number, because here's something to remember, a $500,000 house 2 years ago certainly is going to be worth more, especially here in Charlotte now. It's appreciated a lot by now in Charlotte. But let's just use numbers for the sake of the conversation. A $500,000 house that I'm bringing to the market. 2 years ago, I would have had a conversation with my seller about pricing. And as I'm showing the comps and I'm talking about this, I'm going through seller net, that $500,000 is baking in there the commission that we anticipate. And well, in that case, was a part of the conversation, because as soon as we activated it in MLS, it was there. Same scenario today. Nothing really changes. That $500,000 house price that I'm bringing to the market, we've already talked about commission. And you can trust that we've already talked about the potential that may be requested from the other side. And so at the end of the day, a very simple way for agents to kind of break this down is nothing changes in the dialogue and where numbers are being shifted around. It's how we go about getting numbers now, of course, and the paperwork that's required to get it across the finish line. But at the end of the day, the goal is still the same. The goal has never moved on the field, and your goal as an agent on either side is to get there. The conversation is just different on how we get there. And that's what's important to get sellers to think about it that way as well, is that it's a fee to entice, but that fee's always been there. It just is changing hands on how you approach it, right? Same with other agents on the other side. It's just, we got to stay grounded to remembering It's just formalities. It's ways that we have to have this dialogue and present the numbers.
Yeah, and to a certain degree, I can understand the desire on the part of a buyer's agent to call up a listing agent like yourself and say, "Hey, are you guys offering concession?" I can even understand the desire for them to say, "And how much is that? How much are you willing to offer?" But to your point, until there's a bona fide offer, it's really meaningless. And I mean, one of two things are gonna happen. One, the listing agent is going to say no, but that doesn't mean that they're not willing to offer concessions. If there's a bona fide offer, they have to present it to their seller, and their seller may just say, "Sure, that sounds great." And two, the other option is they say, "Yes, we're willing to offer concession, but your offer comes back low." And they say no, or they say, "Yes, we're willing to offer concession of this amount, but your offer doesn't make the numbers make sense for their sellers to actually offer that." And until you have an offer that's in writing, you will never truly know what they're willing to accept and what they're willing to pay in terms of concessions. So I think that's very right on. Sorry.
It makes the skill of being a negotiator more important than ever, because that's really where the dialogue should be taking place.
That's right. That's absolutely right. And what's interesting is you shared about your community. You have the Realtor Facebook page, and trying to get that message out there to realtors. You want to share a little bit about that?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a battle, but again, I'm trying to be mindful and lead with grace, but I'm also leading with fact. I think it's important that if you feel confident enough to convey facts or share resources. And again, all of my resources are from actual places, whether it's NAR or whatever has been provided to all of us, because we are all in this together. But I'm also not afraid to share that information. It's important that we're learning, we're having peer accountability and peer knowledge building, because some people just don't have that. Some people are at firms that have not discussed this. They have not done scenarios and role playing. And it's important that we do that. And I've brought this up on these realtor groups that, look, guys, like, send it when you feel necessary. But at the end of the day, we're sending it right before an offer, because nothing is solidified until you send me an offer that matches my seller's needs. And I mean, it goes the same with anybody, with any other offer. If the purchase price is off and commission's not even at play here, if it doesn't match the seller's needs, they're going to say no, or we're going to counter back. And so instead of investing that time, and quite honestly, I feel that, just get out there and focus on your buyer's needs, finding them what they're looking for. I do think, to your point you made a minute ago, it's important for you to have very open and honest dialogue with your buyer when you're getting your buyer's agency agreement signed. You got to make sure you run some scenarios with them as well. And there may be a point to where if $500,000 plus them paying the full commission for you, if that's what it takes to get the deal done, doesn't work, then you need to have tough conversations with your buyer about sacrificing. You're a first-time home buyer. I would love to have a 7,000 square foot as a first-time home buyer, but guess what? I may have to get that 4,000 square foot, right? And if they're able to show the sacrifice and then a plan to get them in a place that's comfortable, that works for their needs now, and then look at a 2-year plan or something like that, you're going to have some of those tough conversations. Sometimes we're all in the same boat, but you should go into it with the mindset that the numbers should make sense in most cases. Of course, there's one-offs prior to you going out to look at homes that they can't write a check for.
Yeah. I suspect that the same is true on the sell side, right? I'm not out there selling today, but I do know that sellers don't always want to pay for what the services that you're providing. And I imagine that have you been dealing with any sellers who just adamantly are opposed to concessions? And if so, is it the same sort of advice that, they are opposed now, but let's see what they say when a bona fide offer comes in?
Yeah, it's our job. Like anything, we got to get creative with how we're, the solutions that we're bringing to the table. So, hey, you don't like the idea of a fee? Okay, let's call it something else. Let's talk about a seller concession. If we price the house at $525 and I still feel confident within the comps and I think I can get it to the finish line, would you be open to a seller concession of $10,000 or whatever the number may be? And so oftentimes people are like, yeah, because in seller's mind, I don't know what it is, but sometimes they feel like, oh yeah, because you're raising the purchase price, and they see it easier, that they truly, somebody else is paying it. But again, that conversation goes back with the seller. The best response to that right there, Bryon, is this: in all markets, if you really break it down and look at it, if you price a home at $500,000, you already baked commission into that. And even if you bake double side commission in there, whatever your numbers to cover both may have been 2 years ago, and you go and you price with the same strategy today, paying the commission, the buyer is. Because if it's a competitive market and they're coming in here and they're writing an offer for $500,000, giving you everything that you wanted, you're getting that net that you wanted. So just change the script. And that's how you get a seller on board, in my opinion. It's not one size fits all. There's going to be one-offs, to your point, but that seemed to work to kind of just paint a different picture.
All right. Well, Joe, thank you so much. We really appreciate this. We hope that these scripts and dialogues and this way of kind of approaching this with your sellers helps you at the kitchen table. It certainly seems to be helping Joe and his team do an amazing job of cleaning up in the market there in Charlotte. Joe, we really appreciate you coming on, sharing your hard-won wisdom with us.
Thank you for the time, Bryon. Really appreciate the opportunity.
My pleasure, man. I'm looking forward to hanging out with you in Miami. All right. Back to you, Russ and team.
All right, good stuff. Talk about hanging out with Joe in Miami. I want to hang out with that guy. That guy's kind of got the energy I like to hang out with. So Joe has been doing this for 2 years, guys. So this is not new stuff that he's been doing. This is stuff that just really worked extraordinarily well. So some of the skill sets that we've had, the ability to kind of not have to develop, now we actually have to develop them to be able to make things make sense and be able to move the ball in the right direction. So Joe, great info, great advice, great guidance, great scripting. And I love the fact that you've already been doing it for a while and it works. So all right, next up, we have a special group of people coming that's going to be talking about express offers. So why don't you just jump on in here, guys? We've got Jeff, Terrance, Chuck, and Shonna, guys and girls. Shonna, why don't you jump on in here? Let's talk about EXP exclusives. I'm actually going to get out of the way and let you guys do your thing. So thank you very much for your time and welcome to EXP Big Agent Meeting.
What's up, everybody? Shonna King out of Houston, Texas. I have been with EXP now for 8 years. I started as a brand new agent. I originally took the express offers training when it first came out, and I'll be honest with you, I didn't do anything with it. I was terrified of investors. I didn't feel like I was knew enough about that world to jump into that. And then I decided with my business as it started growing, I wanted to go after more listings. So I went back, retook the training, filled out my express offers profile, started answering my phone, took every single opportunity I possibly could that the express offers division would give me to go out, and we started killing it. And from there, our business has just exploded. It's completely transformed our entire team. We're just going out there and we're getting every single possible deal that we can, and we've been extremely successful with the program. So we love it.
Nice. Well, I'm Terrance Clark, the manager of Express Offers with the Revenos team. Trying to see if we can get our slides up, but not a big deal if we don't. There we go. Just really quick, you heard from Shonna, you heard from Chuck, and I'll let Jeff introduce himself really quickly, and we'll get right into it.
So hi, everybody. My name is Jeff Crisalli, and I am the Director of Operations for Revenos and work very closely with Terrance on Express Offers. And, I think the biggest thing takeaway after you hear about Express Offers is that it is a resource that is here. It has been here, and it's one that I think that agents, like Shonna, take advantage of is a great offering for your clients. And as an exciting thing, we will be revamping the Express Offers platform, which will bring a lot more incentives and great things to the people that participate. So, Terrance, back to you.
Chuck, do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself really quickly?
I do. Thank you. Like Shonna, I took Express Offers as just another begrudging certification. I should probably do this. I don't know what it's about. Looks interesting. And it is such a good fit for my model on how I sell houses, because I mostly deal with people from my sphere, and it is such a good fit for the people that have problems. And in, I think it was 2022, I was the #1 agent in the company for Express Offers deals. It has absolutely taken off. And like Shonna, it's transformed our team. It's transformed our business. What an opportunity.
So really quickly, for everyone on this call that doesn't know what Express Offers is, it is EXP's proprietary platform to help you and your clients get as-is offers without the hassle of staging, showings, and a bunch of the traditional hassles that you would come through if you were to take the house on the market. So we're here to help and help you start conversations with your sellers. And I want you guys to hear from both Shonna and Chuck, who I would say are standing out with the value props and really trying to put it in front of all of their sellers. So Chuck, before we get there, Revenos, EXP's referral engine. So Express Offers is part of the referral engine, along with 8 other divisions that basically allow you, the agent, to have a specialty and work with special clients for each of those divisions. So come and find out more about Revenos. We're going to be at EXPCon in a big way. So go ahead and scan that QR code while you got the opportunity, get the schedule, and we hope to see you all at EXPCon.
Terrance, I just want to jump in with one more, actually 2 more facts, but Terrance did mention that the offers that come through Express Offers, but they're cash offers. So they don't go with all the hassle, but in addition to that, they're cash offers. And the second thing about Revenos in general is that in between the first 2 quarters of 2024, under the leadership of Dawn Conciatori, we have brought in and given to EXP agents almost 30,000 referrals. 30,000. So it's a great thing to be a part of and a big machine that's moving us forward.
Definitely. Come learn about each of those divisions at EXPCon. We'll be excited to hear and see all of you there. So Chuck and Shonna both introduced themselves already. I want to get really high level, guys. Chuck, can you tell us about the key strategies you have for Express Offers?
Yeah, we presented on probably 75% of our listings, and that's because it can't hurt. There's no harm, no foul. You get an offer. It's just part of a checkoff box that we use on the way to selling their house. So we start with Express Offers using Open Door, and then we use Express Offers with the Express Offers investors that EXP has, and then from there we're able, if neither of those work, which most of the time they work, then we progress to some private investors that we're able to leverage also using Express Offers, and then eventually we use other programs like Curbio. But there are very few houses where it doesn't make sense to at least run this by an investor and see, when you're talking a cash offer with a quick close and usually half the commission, it pencils out pretty well for sellers. So it's just a great value add on so many levels. And then on top of it, people really connect with the thought of Express Offers, because everyone has someone who has died in their life and they've inherited a house, or they're just overwhelmed by some projects, or they're overwhelmed by the thought of people walking through their house all the time on showings. So they see this program and they see that it's another value add that my team can give to sellers in our markets.
Shonna?
So what I wanted to kind of let guys know is that the key to being successful in Express Offers is speed to lead. Definitely. These are people that they put their information in online. You got to strike when the iron is hot, and be very diligent with your follow-up. So I cannot tell you guys enough. You got to call, you got to text, you got to email. Be patient. This is not just like a regular listing appointment. When you go in, you need to establish the relationship almost immediately. And they're going to be a little bit standoffish, but that's okay. So what I've implemented is I've actually offered to pre-send the documents over blank instead of just sending someone a DocuSign and saying, here, sign your life away, because nobody wants to sign something that they don't truly understand. So as an Express Offers agent, definitely, take your time with the program, learn the training, learn the documents like the back of your hand, so you're very confident when you're going on that listing appointment. Or just from the very first phone interaction, extremely what to say, how to get to the appointment, right? And you can only do that if you really truly understand how the program operates. Our team has been able to help. One example is we had a woman who was going to take $91,000 on a property. We were able to put that on the open market and get her $160,000. This is a disabled woman who's going to use this money for the rest of her life. So there's a lot of great things with this program. Then we've helped people that were moving to China in 2 weeks and had to sell. So cash offer was definitely the route to go for them. But Just helping to understand what our role is in the transaction will shoot you out the gate as far as you can go. And you can also share your URL on social media platforms and create your own sales. So it's fantastic.
So I'll keep it with you, Shonna. Really quickly, tell us about the impacts that Express Offers has had on your business.
Well, we've definitely increased our GCI by 25%. 4 of our 8 pending listings, or excuse me, 4 of our 8 pending transactions right now are express offers generated, and 5 of our 12 active listings are from express offers as well. Huge impact.
Nice. Chuck, what about you?
Wow, those are some great numbers. It's we've closed just a ton of sales from the program itself. Actual express offers. Now that we've integrated Open Door, again, you get your offer in minutes, which is just great. So many sales that have run through express offers or use express offers as a platform for leverage have closed because of this. We've had some just great conversations and established ourselves as kind of that caring, knowing, solution-based team to sell a house. And we've created a whole new line of business thanks to express offers, institutional investment services. We have a whole line of business with investors. We've really started working with investors. We started bringing investors in, and we've really tapped into those investors and given them some value. Thanks to EXP Institutional Investment Services, we're partnered with Bold Agent, which is another platform, and we can offer that to our investor partners and really feel like a partner, because that is a really important thing in this market, being the guy that they look to help you with things.
Awesome. Well, not to cut it short, guys, I really do appreciate you jumping on here with us. Again, we're going to be out at EXPCon, so come get certified, learn about some of the other benefits to the certification. Again, come see us at EXPCon, scan this QR code, get the details, and we will look forward to seeing you all there.
I'd recommend getting with your leader that's in your area and shadow them. Reach out if you have any questions. We're all here to help.
Me too.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Russ.
Thanks.
Terrance, Jeff, Chuck, Shonna, so glad to have you guys here. This program is amazing. You got to put this in your business. And again, show up at EXPCon. You can train on this live. Great stuff. So thank you very much for your time today. Appreciate it. All right. EXP has a ton of things under our Revenos banner, which is EXP doing things to help you drive business to you so you can get more sales. Having tools like this in your toolkit are absolutely priceless in this market, because then you can give them a buy it now type of number and then use that to actually work through the rest of the listing conversation. So this helps you stand out. And in this market right now, you got to stand out. All right. So with that said, hey, I've got a special news bulletin here. Levi Lassick today is going to be doing a 45 or so minute segment today at 1 p.m. Pacific time, 4 p.m. Eastern time, streamed to EXP Realty's YouTube channel. If you don't know where EXP Realty YouTube channel is, go into YouTube, type in EXP Realty, and I usually type in live, though I don't think you need to do that, and it pops it right up there. So at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time today, 1 p.m. Pacific, he's going to be talking for about 45 minutes and talking about the value and the things that he's doing in his business, and it's kind of a sneak peek into what agents will learn during his live coaching program. So if you're interested in saying, hey, what do I do? How do I do this? This is a great preview to get an idea of what he's doing in his coaching program. So you want to make sure you don't miss out on that. All right, next up, a quick announcement here, and this is something I'm super thrilled about, because I still, even as an executive, have asked this question a bunch of times. Where do I find all the events going on in EXP? We have a new events calendar that has just gotten launched. EXP Realty has a new comprehensive events calendar. This includes everything that we're aware of. You can access it at eventscalendar.exprealty.com. There'll be a link right in here so you guys can take a look at that. Features of the calendar are going to include all EXP events that are now centralized in one location. Love that. This includes everything from learning sessions to luxury events to in-person gatherings and more. So here's the thing. You want to make sure you save the dates of upcoming events, and you want to make sure you check back often, because this is a living document. It's going to be changing almost every single day. Here's the cool part too. If you have an event, we get asked this all the time. Russ, can you actually promote my event? Absolutely, we can. You can submit your own events to be featured in the calendar. All you got to do is fill out the request form linked at the bottom of the events calendar site, and we'll make sure we get that on your calendar. Lastly, but not least, make sure you start out your week strong with KGCI Real Estate On Air's Mindset and Motivation Monday. KGCI Real Estate On Air is diving deep into the day-to-day tools you need to be the CEO of your business for growth, from CRMs to prospecting, creating client avatars, value proposition. KGCI is streaming with leading industry coaches, sharing proven strategies to take your business to the next level. And by the way, as a special bonus, Frank Panunto and I are actually going to do 3 live sessions at EXPCon in the KGCI booth. You might want to come by and check us out doing that. That should be shenanigans and fun. Next Friday, Real Estate On Air will be drilling down and expanding the listing side of your business. Learn from the top agents that have listed thousands of homes on what they do to generate the coveted seller leads to close more listing appointments. And of course, last but not least, we have NPS survey. If you could hit that QR code, open up your camera on your phone, get the QR code there, give us some feedback on how we did today. Give us a rating on a scale of 1 to 10. Let us know what you liked. And if you didn't like something, don't hesitate to let us know that too. We're always making corrections and additions to try to make this show better for you guys every single week. And we appreciate your feedback. So that is all for September 20, Big Agent Meeting Friday. Stay tuned. Coming up next, ICONversations. See you next week.